Hi guys, so there is this idea at the BBC that they need to allocate equal airtime to both scientists and nut jobs when it comes to issues like climate change, for example. They need to allocate equal airtime to economists and members of right-wing think tanks that want to strip away protections for workers, the environment, and food standards when it comes to issues like Brexit as well. Well, BBC Panorama ran this 6 months after Brexit story, and in it they had a guy on called Julian Jessup, who was here to talk about the benefits of Brexit. Well, I want to tell you a little bit more about him, but before we get to Julian, let's hear what he had to say.
If you want to blame anybody, it's the EU that is deciding to impose these very strict controls on what UK companies can export to the EU.
So it's the EU's fault that the UK can't export like it could before. So it's the EU's fault that the UK, Great Britain, I should say, at this stage, it's the EU's fault that Britain is now a third country. So when people like Julian said in the run-up to Brexit that everything will be okay, you'll still be able to export just as before, did they not understand that Britain or the UK at the time would become a third country? That's what they were advocating. So did they not understand, or were they lying? Now, I imagine Julian is probably paid a lot of money to say these things. So somebody's paying him a lot of money to tell lies or to spout things that he doesn't understand. Which is it?
And also, Brexit, of course, isn't just about trade. There's an awful lot else going on. For example, the possibility of regulating our economy more sensibly as a sovereign nation.
Okay, so for businesses that were told before, look, don't worry, you'll be able to sell your shellfish into the EU without a problem. It's your nearest market, don't worry, you'll be able to sell it. There won't be any restrictions. Now that there are restrictions, because the UK or Great Britain is a third country, how are these businesses supposed to respond? They're going under. Their debts are piling up. What are they supposed to do, Julian? What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to call up the bank or the people they owe money to and say, sovereignty? And the bank is to respond with, oh, I'm sorry to disturb you. Your debt has now been cleared because you said sovereignty. Anyway, let's hear what else he had to say.
It's often the case that shocks to the economy have some positive impacts. There is a possibility that some companies had got stuck in their ways, and Brexit is the shock required to make them open up their eyes to opportunities further overseas. So anything that shakes up the economy and makes us think a bit more globally isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Possibilities isn't a bad thing. This guy is getting paid to say these things. So basically what he's saying here is that, businesses that are suffering at the moment, what they really needed was a bit of a kick up the backside. That's what they needed. They were getting set in their ways, exporting to their neighbors. No, you need to stop exporting to your neighbors. You need to start exporting to countries on the other side of the planet. Set in your ways, exporting to Europe. No. We want now to export to China, to Australia, to South America. Yes, I know that you're selling shellfish that have a very short shelf life, but think of the opportunities. These people are presented as experts. Anyway, let's have a look at Julian. So Julian is an independent economist. Not sure what that means. He's a Brexit optimist. I know even less about that. And it says here, IEA Economics Fellow. Now, the IEA is the Institute of Economic Affairs. It sounds very fancy. It says here, the IEA subscribes to a right-wing and neoliberal worldview and advocates positions based on this ideology, including climate change denial, the total privatization, in effect abolition of the National Health Service. And okay, let's have a look more at, I'm not going to go through all of this, but let's have a look at some of their purpose and aims. It says here, since Britain voted to leave the European Union, Brexit, by March 2019, the IEA has lobbied consistently for a hard Brexit without customs and regulatory alignment, etc. A report it published in July 2018 proposed using Brexit to remove rules protecting agency workers, to deregulate finance, annul the rules on hazardous chemicals, and weaken food labelling laws. All benefits of Brexit. The IEA supports privatising the National Health Service, campaigns against controls on junk food, attacks trade unions, and defends zero-hour contracts, unpaid internships, and tax havens. IEA staff are frequently, listen to this, IEA staff are frequently invited by the BBC to promote their ideology and policy positions on television. And here we have Jessup, Julian Jessup from the IEA, promoting the idea that businesses need to be shaken up. We need to stop, focusing on exporting to the EU and start focusing on exporting further afield. What's very disappointing is that the BBC give these people a voice. This guy should be nowhere near the BBC. Now, I don't know if this is a decision by Panorama or if this decision is taken higher up. But unfortunately, the public don't know who this guy is. They don't know who the IEA is. And they would assume that he is an expert, that he knows what he's talking about, that when he says the Brexit has benefits, that it's true, or that when he says that the EU is at fault or the EU is to be blamed here, that it's correct. There are no facts and opinions. There isn't a fact on one side and a counterbalance being an opinion. No. Brexit has been damaging for British businesses. That's a fact. Saying it's fixed by sovereignty is an opinion, but they're not equal. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this, but I'm extremely concerned that a reputable name in the past, I think, the BBC and Panorama, are peddling this type of pro-Brexit propaganda from the likes of a right-wing think tank. Let me know in the comment section. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?